What's up, y'all? It's your boy Progress West, and welcome back to another exciting episode where we're gonna react to this brand new video put out by Cosmonaught Marcus. That's right, he put out a video saying that RE4 is the greatest game of all time? Or something like that. The title escapes me. So we're gonna react to this guy's thoughts right here. We're gonna see if we agree or if we think this is a steaming pile of dog shit. Hopefully we agree, because I usually like his videos and I agree with most of his takes. Without further ado, let's go.
Resident Evil 4 is one of the best games ever made. Period. It's not up for debate. Even if it's not your thing, you gotta admit, its impact on gaming is kind of insane. There is no Last of Us without Resident Evil 4. No Gears of War, no Dead Space. Hell, we probably don't even have Fortnite without a long chain of Resident Evil 4 influence.
Hey,
and as such, when they announced a remake of Resident Evil 4, initially I was thinking, yeah, they probably don't need to make that. Because this is one of my personal top 3 favorite games of all time. And I'll tell you, it ain't number 3. In my mind, it does not need a remake, but I realize that every time I try to get somebody to play this game, they're like, oh, why can't I move and shoot? Oh, why is the game so slow? Yeah, okay, I get it, alright? Gaming has changed a lot. Yes. So over the past few months, I opened my heart to the idea of a RE4 remake. And I have to say, I made a good choice, because this game is really good.
Hallelujah, yes it is.
This game really sets a high bar for remakes. It takes all of the energy and style of the original while recontextualizing it for a modern audience. All of the original concepts are here, but they're retooled to fit what modern gamers want. RE4 was really a pioneer for third-person shooters, but this game makes it a lot smoother. Originally, we didn't care if the story didn't make sense and if the characters were goofy. But now, the story and characters just gel better while still keeping the goofy, campy tone. Everything in this game is either played faithfully or updated, and there are many times in my almost 20-hour playthrough where I felt an immense sense of satisfaction. I really did feel the same way I did when I played the original as a kid. I don't even review games that much anymore, but this shit was so good that I need to talk about it. The second I beat this game, I wanted to go back in and play it again. That's very unlike me, but damn, it's just so good. The first thing that caught my eye about Resident Evil 4 Remake is how clean the gameplay is. For instance, the knife in the original game is fucking useless. Like, literally useless. Sorry, that's actually a lie. It has one use. It opens boxes. But now the knife is easily Leon's most versatile weapon. You know when people say that every game should have a grappling hook? I'll double down and say that every game should also have parrying. The knife parry is so fun that I won't be able to play another Resident Evil game the same way without it. And I love that Leon is using the knife that Marvin gave him in the RE2 remake. It makes it even more meaningful. Again, recontextualizing. And really, there's a lot of crunchy detail to the gameplay here. The guns all feel and sound like guns. Enemies in the last few Resident Evil games have felt a little bit bullet spongy, and that's okay, because they're zombies. They shouldn't really die immediately, but Resident Evil 4 is not fully a survival horror game. It's like a survival horror action game. It has spooky elements, but for the most part,
this part right here was freaking intense, man. It took me like 3 tries to get through it. Oh, I almost pooped myself. It was so scary.
You are just going to be mowing down enemies. Leon's well equipped, and he is easily strong enough to kill every creature in this game. And the game wants you to. There's not going to be a lot of moments where you're like, oh, I don't really want to waste my ammo on these guys. No, just kill them. It's fine. I played this on the hardest difficulty available at the start of the game, and while I took a lot of damage, I was happy to see that I was still dishing it out as well. And like I said before, in the original game, you could not move and shoot, and the enemies played around that. There are a lot of moments where they'll run up to you, and they'll take a second. Honestly, they're very polite, they all wait their turn. But now in this game, since you can move and shoot, the game is retooled around that. There are a lot more enemies to face, and they are going to haul ass to beat the ever-living shit out of you. And the AI in this game is just as good as I would expect. At times, it felt like these enemies were a little too smart. In this game, it really does feel like it's you versus the entire population of Spain, which makes succeeding in combat even more satisfying. This game does have the strongest focus on combat out of all of the other Resident Evil games, and it feels like they took every good element of combat from the previous games and mashed them all together. The dismemberment from RE2 Remake is here. The evasion and combat tricks from RE3 Remake are here. Combat flows very well, and I love the little details they added. Leon will react to how each fight went depending on if you had a hard time or not. If you run out of any consumable items like gunpowder or healing herbs, he'll let you know that that was the last one, so you don't have to dig through your case looking for an extra. And then we have visual details as well. Leon will do a different reload if you're out of ammo as opposed to if you have ammo left in your magazine. He can change to this close quarters shooting stance like fucking John Wick if there's enemies in your face. All of it blends together to make the game feel smooth and to make you feel really cool. This game really makes you feel like an evil resident. The boss fights are also updated, with each one taking it one level higher than the originals. Each boss fight had a moment where I was like, damn, that was really sick. Except for the fish boss.
Oh my god, I hate the fish boss the worst. I think that's the worst boss in the whole game. That's like the boss I hated in both games, in the original one and the remake. I did not like the fish boss. I thought it was I guess not a waste of time. It's cool to introduce like a new type of boss to fight, but it just felt lackluster. Like, I don't know, just like, these tiny little harpoons are gonna kill this giant behemoth megalodon or whatever. Just bleh.
That's the only one where it's exactly the same as it was back in 2004. Honestly, I think it's not really a very good fight. I think it's actually better in the original game because you have access to QTEs to kind of keep the tension up. They cut all of the QuickTime events out of this game, and half of that fight was QuickTime events. So without them, there's kind of nothing left.
Yes, facts.
It's pretty boring. But that's really the only gameplay complaint that I have. I will say, in general, I actually like the QuickTime events in the original. I know that this also kind of started a trend of having QuickTime events in like every game. But in the original RE4, it kind of made sense. Like, that was that game's thing. Though I will say, for the most part in this game, I didn't really miss them because all of the scenes where you would have a QuickTime event, you're just controlling Leon yourself, and I think that that just works better. And the combat isn't the only thing on display here. I spent just as much time doing minigames and side quests. Yes, there are side quests in this game, and they are disgustingly addicting. It really makes you want to add more money and resources to your pool so you can get new weapons and upgrade them and just keep murdering stuff. I really appreciate how much content Capcom has been putting into their games lately. All of these games are designed to be beaten quickly and replayed multiple times, but I still really appreciate when they add a lot of stuff to each playthrough. I will say that this is definitely one single-player, story-based video game that feels like it's actually worth the money. And as someone who's played the original a million times, I still had many moments where I had no idea what to expect. I had a lot of areas that I did not recognize. A lot of moments where I was like, where the fuck am I right now? There are a lot of enemies that I have never fought. There are enemies that I have fought before, but in places where I don't expect them to be. And all of these were in ways that felt very faithful to the original. It was equally rewarding. And I haven't even begun to explain the best thing that this remake does. They improved the music. I love the original Resident Evil 4. That should be very apparent by now. But I will say, it is not a game that's known for its music. But I can say without any exaggeration that the music in this game is just better than the original in every way. And all of the recent Resident Evil games have been upping the ante as far as music goes. I first noticed it with some of those fast-paced songs in Resi 2.
What the hell?
Then Village comes in with even more bangers. And now we get to this game, where every single level has multiple songs that made me stop and think, who the fuck decided to pop off with this music? This game really does a great job of taking all of the elements of RE4 that made it a classic and repackage them so more people can enjoy it. And I haven't even talked about the improvements to the narrative yet. Saying the original Resident Evil 4 had a narrative at all is pretty generous, because the plot is absolutely absurd. It is ludicrous, and the characters are just a joke. The game is hammy on purpose, so it fits. It's a corny action movie. But after the Resident Evil 2 remake played things pretty straight, people are going to expect a little more out of the narrative and the characters. And I gotta say, they made it a lot better. Like my good friend Susie said, they made everything make sense. I could tell things were different right at the beginning when Leon spoke Spanish. Like, him learning Spanish for his secret mission in Spain seems like the bare minimum, but it still shocked me because in the original, he didn't have any idea what these fucking people were saying. This game takes a little extra time to explain character motivations and plot details. Whenever you meet a new enemy type, you'll find a note explaining what it is and how it works in this universe. And sometimes, you'll kind of feel bad for him because for the most part, most of these enemies are just regular people that got Ligma and turned into a monster. The world of Resident Evil 4 overall is fleshed out a lot better in this game. There's a lot of details that I didn't even realize were missing from the original that I got clarity on for the first time. The cast is no longer solely made up of Saturday morning cartoon characters. Leon is still action hero man, but he spends a lot of time in this game having trauma about the shit he went through in Resident Evil 2. This game really does feel like a direct sequel to that game, and I really appreciate that they're sharing a lot of connecting tissue. Ashley is a lot more capable, and she has a nice little character arc where she learns to take care of herself a little more.
Those
And then
freaking
we have
glasses she was
Luis,
wearing look so
who is
silly.
actually a good character now. He's in the game a lot more, you understand his story and his motivations, and he isn't a sexual predator. It all just makes more sense. Overall, this game made me feel very similarly to how I felt about the Final Fantasy VII remake, except here, I have virtually no complaints. This is as good as remakes get. For the rest of time, I will be comparing every single video game remake to this one. I loved every single minute of this game, and when I beat it at 4 AM, I still wanted to turn it back on and play more. And yes, I am biased. I will not deny it. This is not a review where I sit down and convince you why you should play this game. I don't care about that. This is a review where I explain how this game was made for me and why that makes me happy. But this isn't to say that new players will not enjoy this game as well. I've had a lot of people in stream ask me, where should I start if I want to play Resident Evil? And I honestly think that the Resident Evil 2 remake is a great place to start. Definitely play that before you play this, and don't feel like you need to play the original Resident Evil 4 to enjoy this. It was clearly made to please both newcomers and returning fans. This really is a remake that is in love with the original. The classic lines are here with a few new ones added. The unlockable keychains are all character models from the original game. Hell, the shooting range song is a remix of the original opening theme. And when I heard that, it did something to me. It did something that video games haven't done for a long time. This is a game that is made with reverence for the game that came before it, and it shows in every aspect of its design. It's a good time to love Resident Evil. This is an easy 10 out of 10.
Ooh, 10 out of 10. All right, boys, let's break that down. So first and foremost, let me find a good picture. All right, y'all. So first and foremost, great freaking video. Shout out to Cosmonaught Marcus right there, man. This video was on point. I definitely love it. And I gotta say I agree. It's definitely a 10 out of 10. The boss fights were so cinematic. It just felt like you were playing in a movie. The only boss fight I didn't like, which I stated earlier, was the fishy monster. Oh, Bessie the Loch Ness bitch. Did not like that part. F that part. And Ada Wong. He didn't say anything, but Ada Wong, I think she was the weakest part of this. I do not like the new voice actor. The way she looked was okay, but just that voice, something about it, it turned me off. Like, not like in a sexual way, but it turned me off. Like, every time I heard her, I groaned. I was like, oh my God, her again. She just had like this deadpan delivery that took me out of the game. But a definite improvement was Luis, however you say it. I can't talk right, but oh my God, he was a fantastic character. He felt brand new. Like he said, they took out the pervy stuff and they gave him like so much more backstory where I got enjoyment out of him being on the screen. Every time I found him, it was like an exciting thing, and to the point where, I'm not gonna ruin it, but something happens in the middle, but makes you like, what the hell? Why did that happen? But I was sad when it happened, but I mean, he was such a great character. He reminded me of Puss in Boots. He was like, he's the Puss in Boots of Resident Evil. So how could you not love him? He was fantastic. Ashley was less annoying. Even the what you call them, the escort missions weren't as bad as the first one. The first one was just so painful. She would just always get killed, and like even in this playthrough of the remake, she would keep getting captured, but I was able to save her because it was a lot more fair this time. She was a lot smarter too. I like how she actually got in there and she actually helped out in the story. She wasn't just a damsel in distress, which was fantastic. Overall, if you do not have this game, I think you should get it and play it. Like he said, I totally agree with pretty much everything he said. I just wish he would have said something about Ada's voice, because that's how much I hated it. I give the game 10 out of 10. Gives review 8 out of 10. All right, on to the next video. It's your boy Progress West. Without further ado, leave a like if you like the video, subscribe if you're digging the vibes, and we out.